And we are now reaching the final remarks, which will be given by Professor Dina Porat. Professor Porat needs no introduction, and therefore there will be no introduction.
Okay. Thank you. Not only will there be no introduction, it's it's a bit past 6. We have been together for 2.5 days. I'll try to summarize shortly, to point out just a few points, and then, where is Carsten? You're here, okay. What a bus, he has some bus. Okay, it's unmistakable. So, I looked at the program while trying to sum it up, and we have heard, along the conference, 20 lectures. 2 in the opening night, 12 yesterday, and 9 more today. Yeah, it makes it 20. So this is really rich. And one conclusion or one result and outcome of this conference will be a book that we are planning to publish with the Naumann Foundation, with the Moses Mendelssohn Center, perhaps with others, to have, there was no lecture that wasn't worth listening to among these 20, and that's an achievement. And we would like the lectures to be collected and published as a book. Now, I'll start from the end, because Ronnie Stauber and Reuven Merchav reminded us of the past. They started with the time right after the Holocaust and the development of relationships. And they touched, both of them, very forcefully on the questions of forgiveness, of reparation, of compensation, of the possibility to overcome and to go on. And so did, if you still remember, Ambassador Ben Zeev in our opening evening, when he also related to the development of relationship between Israel and Germany, and showed that it wasn't, that this commitment that is so forcefully expressed today by, so it's a Kanzlerin, and what can I say, Angela Merkel, so forcefully. By the way, I think she was the first person allowed to speak German in the Knesset, because before that it wasn't. And in this very house, until 3 years ago, until in this very house in Bet Futzot, until 3 years ago, it wasn't spoken. So he also, the ambassador also took us along a painful, as Ronnie coined it, development, and showed an escalation and strengthening of relations, and warned that this is not forever, that it's not for sure, that normalization is normalität, yeah, and it has, this coin has 2 sides, and we should be aware of that. So the 3 of them gave us the past and its beginnings. Then, if I go to the beginning, I'd like to pick up on this beautiful image that Vera Kotovsky brought us, and this is the unpacked suitcase. And the question was, what was there in the Jewish suitcases that were packed and unpacked? People went, people came. And the title of Professor Shep's lecture, The Stigma, is the stigma of homelessness over? And these 2 brought us to the question, and some others as well, is there indeed now an end to this trauma that was begun, that was described by these 3 speakers, Stauber and Merchav and Ben Zeev? They took us from the trauma on, and we began the conference by asking, actually, is it over or not. And by the way, Professor Sheps told us about an apartment, a German typical apartment that was built in Los Angeles, yeah, by a German family, and then the children did away with it. So I highly recommend watching the movie Hadira, The Apartment, where the third generation throws out of the balcony beautiful pieces of German furniture and all the mother's furs and laces out of the window. Ciao. That's a horrible sight. So, but is this also a sign of the end of the trauma? Now, there was another question. Is there a building of new Jewish identity in Germany? And here I'd like to relate to your remark. There was uneasiness. It's not that that we all accepted. I don't know whether you've been here from the beginning, but it's not that the fact that there is Jewish life in Germany was not accepted as self-understood. It was rather analyzed. The conference was an attempt to analyze what is there and what is going on, okay? And what future does it have? And is there a new Jewish identity? So Karsten helped us with the music, and Professor Mittelman with the humor of the new generation of writers who write humorously and through the humor get at the painful points. And Michael Elms helped us with speaking about the movies. So all three of them tried to show us that there is contents, there is culture, there is some substance, but still it didn't push aside the question, is this a German Jewish community? Because of its composure, because it's 10% German Jews, who most of them are actually Polish Jews, and 90% new Russian comers, and who, God forbid, do not even have a Jewish mother. As Julia showed us in her lecture, that was spoken very softly, but showed a terrible tragedy. People who came, atheists, now that they were forced to be atheists in communist Russia, and now they come, because they don't have a Jewish mother, and they have, as we said, God forbid, only a Jewish father, they are not accepted even by the Reform community because they do not have any baggage. They do not have enough of a Jewish baggage and tradition, and so they are actually bereaved from the two worlds, the former one and the new one. So we spoke about them, definitely spoke about them as well. We also raised the question time and again of who is a Jew. Who is a Jew? And there is a beautiful piece in your father's book, באור התכלת העזה, under the strong blue sky, that asks who is a Jew. And he said, okay, a Jew, it's a beautiful piece, and he says a Jew is one who chooses to be a Jew. Okay, that's definitely an answer. It's a choice. It's a personal choice and a sense of belonging. I just add in parentheses that why isn't this enough for the Orthodox Jewry? Because if some tribe now in Africa, now there are some rumors in Kenya, and in India, chooses to be Jewish, no. And so you know the continuation. Anyhow, the question was raised time and again, who is a Jew? And we came again and again to the same conclusion. that there are many answers despite this beautiful one, that there are many answers and many variations, and as I try to point out, as poet Abba Kovner said, variety and dispute are the cornerstones of Jewish culture. That's it. There is no unanimity on anything. Now, Professor Margalit reminded us, and you too, Fania, that we cannot self-center only on our Tzures, and there are other minorities as well, in Germany as well, and he described to us the Turkish minority and their quest for their strong national and religious identity, and showed us, I don't know, I'm quite pessimistic about this, and about the future of the millions, about the future of the coexistence between former Europe, local Europe, and the millions and millions of newcomers who come and still, part of them wants to integrate, but part wants to retain their identity, and the clash is enormous. It's there, okay? Dr. Breyer tried to show us the efforts of the governments, her government Hessen, to integrate them, to put a lot of money in integration, in education, etc., etc. And although she spoke, well, it's her job to speak as a representative of her, she's a politician and an official person, to speak as a representative of her country, she did manage to tell us in between the lines that it is highly difficult and highly problematic, and she should be, I think, commended for that. Then we had a very strong session on anti-Semitism, which was very well built because Ginter showed us anti-Semitism on the extreme right and the Muslim movements, even the legal Muslim movements in Germany. And then Professor Schwarz-Friesel showed us how the mainstream speaks on the basis of a lot of material. And then we had Lars, I don't see him anymore. Okay. And then Lars showed the German elite and the way they speak today about Germans, about Jews, sorry, and that was quite discouraging. This picture of the three of them put, you could say, it's extreme right, it's Muslims. No, it was the center of society, as Professor Schwarz-Friesel showed, based on a lot of material and of many years of looking at it, and the expressions and the hostility, they were a contrast to what we try to show, or what other lecturers try to show about a community that is being built, that is being accepted, etc. But the hostility, according to this session, is still very much there. Then we asked, do these Russian Jews, I asked at least, do these Russian Jews who were forcefully atheist, are they moving towards the direction of more Judaism in their life in many ways? And Edna showed this midrasha and the Baalei Tshuva. Julia with her victory sausage, where is she? With the food, with the foods that Russian Jews are eating, that is eating advertising that is apart from home and part a look back at home and part looking at the new paradise that they are in. And the question is indeed, isn't this a testimony to the power of Judaism, as Lazarus, Oigevaldi, went home, but Lazarus, who always advocated, who was sitting here and advocating us not to forget Jewish religion, that kept us for, he even got us 4,000 years. That's a bit too much. 3 are okay. Even that is a bit doubted, but okay. But isn't it a testimony for the power of Judaism that takes these atheists and pushes them towards more contents and towards a source of identity. Regarding this generous budgets being given to the rabbinical seminar and to others, well, there was some voices of protest, because this what did he say? 7 million euros, etc. And he gave us a financial breakdown, and there is a question there. It is being rebuilt. The rabbinical seminary began in the 19th century. Okay, it's being rebuilt. Okay, but there is a question there. What's the role of the German government and the German municipalities when they give this money? What's their intention? Is it indeed paving the way for more Jews to come or to feel well there so that they feel well there? Or, I don't know. That's a question that we should still put on the table, and this question of financing is, I think, should be answered, needs an answer. And then Fania and what's his name? Zachary Johnson spoke about the Israelis in Berlin, and others too. You remember Wolfson. You remember Professor Wolfson and his lecture? He also took us along the road from 45 till today, and he also spoke about the Israelis in Berlin, which is indeed a kind of a new and a surprising phenomenon that was analyzed from many angles. My younger son is a musician, and one of his best friends is Guy Bronstein, who is first Meister of the Philharmonic in Berlin. And what my son would like to do, he didn't find the budget yet. Oh, I have an idea now where to take the budget from. Okay. But what he would like to do is to put up an orchestra, a new Israeli orchestra, made of young Israeli musicians who went mainly to Germany, but to other places as well, and to bring them here, let's say, for 1-2 months a year, and have a beautiful orchestra here. Okay, I think I did not forget anyone, and if I did, I hope not, me. Exactly, if I did, my apologies. 2 last remarks before we hear Karsten finishing this beautiful conference. One is on the word Shilumim, Reuven. And the word Shilumim was coined in the balcony of our home, and I heard it in 1961 in the preparations for the Eichmann trial, in a conversation between Moshe Sharet and my late father, who remembered that the word was coined, who reminded each other that they were sitting on the same balcony at the beginning of the 50s, looking for a proper word, okay? And they always took the Bible to consult with. And one of them, I don't remember who said, what they told that who said what. And let's say my father said, Li nakam v'shilem, okay? But shilem, said Shertok, is just in the singular. What do you mean by shilem? They should pay many more times than the singular. We need something in the plural. Okay. So they said perhaps shlamim, shilemim, but didn't sound too good, didn't sound too good, and then they came up with shilumim, One last remark is, before I thank everyone, that Chaim asked me, Chaim, אתה פה? Okay. Chaim asked me to begin our opening evening by speaking about Beitar Yerushalayim and what is going on there. I found it a bit awkward. How could I push Beitar Yerushalayim into German Jewry? But then came Reuven and helped me out by saying that if we had this conference and end it, not speaking about our duty to fight racism wherever and whenever, we didn't fulfill our duty and the conference wasn't fulfilling its goal. And I think he's absolutely right. The Kantor Center staff published in Haaretz a protest against racism and acts against Muslims and Christians in Israel. And I think we should do it now with many more other institutes, and we definitely resent this Beitar Yerushalayim or part of Beitar Yerushalayim thing. Oish. Okay. Thank you, everyone, all the participants. We have named the participants and the partners and the organizers 10 times. So thank you, everyone. And now, Karsten, בבקשה. מה?